everybody, it's Cathryn from In the Pink Designs. My project today is a treat box that measures 4 by 2 3/4 by 1, and it has a double flap on it. Opens like that, and inside I have a roll of Lifesavers, which a couple of people told me you can get them on Amazon, but they're in a pretty big amount, so I didn't want to do one just specifically to fit these. One of these little pens from Dollar Tree, 2 lollipops, and a Kit Kat. So it'll fit a bunch of stuff in there. I use the Country Bouquet stamp set and punch, along with the Something Fancy dies for the 2 labels. Alrighty. I got some inspiration from, I think this is the person, because I only saw a picture, Just For You, I think is the name of her blog. I loved how she did this little ribbon and the heart and the leaves, and I only had double this amount left of my glittered organdy ribbon. I have a roll coming, but it's not here yet. So I was so happy to see somebody used ribbon, just a tiny amount of ribbon, because that's all I had. All right. What we need for this project is, of course, some basic white for stamping, a piece of sweet sorbet that is 10 1/4 by 7, 3 pieces that are 3 3/4 by 2 1/2, 2 of them of this pattern from the Country Floral Lane DSP, and 2 with the one with the stripes. You could put 2. You could. I just put one up there. You could put another striped one down here if you wanted to. Okay, we need. Now you can use whatever labels, or you can just cut rectangles if you want. I use these 2, and they're from the Something Fancy dies. This one is Sweet Sorbet, and the small one, of course, out of Basic White. Okay, now for more of the DSP, you need 2 pieces that are 3 3/4 by 3/4, and 2 pieces that are 2 1/2 by 3/4. Alrighty, this is my host code. If you're going to purchase from my website, which is linked below, please put that host code in for anything under $150. If it's over $150, you want to not put a code in so you can get your stamping rewards. Alright, so we're going to start on this 10 1/4 inch side, and we're going to score at 2 3/4, 3 3/4, 6 1/2, and 7 1/2. Then we're going to turn it to the 7-inch side, and we're going to score at 1/2, 1 1/2, 5 1/2, and 6 1/2. Okay, now I'm just going to fold and burnish all of the score lines. Okay, now you can go on either side, but just make sure that it's the long way. Okay, in the landscape mode, you have a 1/2 inch skinny rectangle on the top and the bottom, and these are 2 3/4 and 2 3/4 on either side. All right, and this is what we're going to do. All right, so we're going to start on the left-hand side. We're going to go to the first score line, cut it to the second score line, and take these 2 pieces off. Okay, go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, take off that rectangle on the bottom, and wedge each side of the square. Go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, next score line, cut it to the second score line, get rid of this rectangle on the bottom, and wedge each side of the square. Okay, now we're going to take these 2 last rectangles off also. Now we're going to flip it around and do the same exact thing. go to the first score line, cut it to the second score line, get rid of these two rectangles here, go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, cut off the rectangle on the bottom, and wedge each side of the square. Go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, next score line, cut it to the second score line. We want to take this rectangle off the bottom and wedge each side of the square. And then we're going to get rid of these two rectangles also. Okay, and that's what your cardstock should look like after you're done scoring it and cutting it. Okay, now I'm going to start on the left side. I'm going to put glue on these two tabs, and I'm going to take the score line on the tab and match it up with the inner rectangle. And I'm just going to hold it a little bit until it's nice and set. Okay, and then we're going to do it to the other rectangle, other tabs on the other side, and we're going to attach it to the same rectangle, just the other side of it. And that's your box. All right, now we need our DSP. Okay, and the only one I don't want you to put on yet is the striped piece, okay? But we're going to put the heart ones, and all three of these are 3 3/4 by 2.5. We're going to put the hearts there and right here. Okay, and then these pieces are 3 3/4 by 2.5. The long side ones are 3 3/4 by 3/4, and the short side ones are 2.5 by 3/4. And I'm going to use liquid glue for all of it. All right, now we're going to let that dry, and we're going to do some stamping. So first, let's do the sentiment on the inside. So on the striped piece of paper, which is 3 3/4 by 2.5, I'm going to stamp in Tuxedo Black Ink, Happy Valentine's Day. You could put a label in here too if you wanted to. Okay, let that dry a second. All right, and then on our little label from Something Fancy Dies, we're going to stamp the two of the sentiments. Oops, one of them just came loose here. For You with Love. I thought that went together nicely. And I'm going to be using Sweet Sorbet Ink, and I'm going to put it towards the right hand side. Okay, then we need our piece of basic white cardstock. Now we need to do the large heart, and I'm going to do it again with Sweet Sorbet ink. And I'm just going to put that right there. Okay, and for the leaves, I used mint macaron because that's what's in here, along with garden green. So if you have garden green, you can use that for the leaves too. Or maybe that's mossy meadow. I think it's mossy meadow, but garden green would work too. Okay, and then I'm going to use my Country Bouquet punch to punch them both out. Now I'm going to cut this like this so I can save the other piece of my basic white. All right, so now let's put this on the inside. And then I'm going to use my mat so I don't get it all over. Okay. I'm just going to kind of overlap them like that. We just need a little bit of glue right here. All right, and then we're going to take the Sweet Sorbet label and we're just going to attach the small basic white label with the sentiment right in the middle. Okay, now since this is dried a little bit, I'm going to put my adhesive backed Velcro dots. You can also tie another ribbon and put the label over it if you don't have these, and that'll close that. But I'm going to put two. I'm going to put one on each corner on this inside the top lid, and then put the other ones with the adhesive out. Okay, and then we're going to close this so it's nice and even. And gently pull it up, hopefully. There we go. Okay. Okay, and that's our closure. All right, and since that's closed, we can put this label on with Dimesionals. Okay. And I'm just going to put this right in the middle of the top. Okay, and then we're going to put our leaves about right here. So we're going to need mini Dimesionals in the bottom of both of those. Right as far down as we can get them. And then a little bit of liquid glue right up here. And then I'm just going to put it right about here. Push those down. And then I'm going to get my heart, big heart. And I'm going to put that kind of adjacent to that, like that. Oops. Now we need our little piece of glittered organdy ribbon. And I'm going to tie 2 knots. I'm going to tie one. And then I'm going to tie it again to make it a little bit bigger, because this is pretty thin. So then we got to have a decent sized knot there on the top. Okay. And then I'm going to put 2 glue dots on either side of the knot. And a dab of glue on the actual knot itself. And then I'm just going to put it right over the edge of the leaves. And then I'll just trim these just a little bit so that they're about even. Now this one's still a little long. Okay. There we go. And for the final touch, I'm going to use some solid faceted gems in the petal pink, which is also in there. And I'm going to put a large one right there, a small one over here, and another large one up there. 1, 2, 3. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, my email is below. All of the measurements are on my blog, linked below, along with my shop and the link to join if you would like to join before February 28th. You get $99 you pay for $175 worth of products that you pick, or $129 you would pay and you would get $175 worth of product you pick, plus one of the mini die cutting machines in the blue or the white. Alrighty, thank you so much and have a great day. I will see you on Friday. Bye.